This is Jonathan Agger, Fifth Pro Boxing Fans, joined by Spencer Oliver here in Bournemouth. Got a nice backdrop here in Bournemouth, Spencer. How you doing?
How often do you get that backdrop? It's like going back in time for me. It's like going back to the 90s where we used to go to all these like weird sort of places and have these shows in like unusual places. Because now boxing's always like in the main cities, isn't it? It's always like London, Manchester, Cardiff, Liverpool. So it's quite refreshing actually. But what a spot! I've never been Bournemouth before. Have you been Bournemouth?
Just to go uni here, so.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can take us out later then. You know where to go. You know
no comment.
You know the hot spots. But yeah, I'm loving it. Really nice. It's like, you know, how often do you ever get a chance to do an open workout on the beach? It's all a little bit nuts.
Obviously, a setting like this had to be a good fight, and it looks like it is going to be a good fight. Billam-Smith, Chamberlain, the main event here.
Yeah.
A lot of people saying 50-50 on paper. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, exactly that. You know, I think that Billam-Smith you got to give him credit, you know, for taking the fight, because Chamberlain has sort of like, you know, since his Lawrence Okoli loss, he's sort of gone away. He went back to the drawing board and he's rebuilt and he's come back better and stronger. You know, he's a force to be reckoned with, Chamberlain. If he gets into any sort of rhythm, he's going to be difficult to beat. So yeah, you got to give Chris all the credit for taking this fight, because yeah, it's a tough one. It's a real 50-50.
What's going to be the difference here? I mean, people are saying Billam-Smith's got more momentum, but Chamberlain's unbeaten in, I think, 5.
Yeah, do you know what it is? It's like it's that one where, you know, when you get a good fight where we've all got an opinion, but none of us really know, and that's the truth of it. Like, I've been swinging one way then the other. When the fight was first announced, I was like, yeah, Billam-Smith will be too big, too strong. Yeah, I think he'll catch him in the right hand. You know, Chamberlain's one of those guys that carries his left quite low, but actually he's got a better boxing IQ, Chamberlain, and he digs deep, man, and he gets down in the trenches, and he's been there before a couple of times. And like I say, when he boxed Okoli, you know, he's been on that big platform, so his apprenticeship's been done, and he recognises now that this is a massive opportunity, and I just think he's going to give it everything. You know, speaking to him earlier on today, and he saw it, like, his mood had changed, like reality kicked in. He was a little bit edgy, he was a little bit snappy, but he was so confident. I think it's just one of those ones. It's yes, and it's a hard one to call, because you speak to Billam-Smith and he's more relaxed and he's happy and easygoing, and you know, he's wanted this big homecoming. By the way, it's captured the imagination down here as well. Everyone's talking about this fight. Yeah, so listen, I don't know who's going to win it. If I'm totally honest, I don't know what way it's going to go, and that's the way I like it. It's just, you know, when you get great fights, none of us really know.
And stacked undercard, what's your pick?
I want to see Ben Whittaker, for obvious reasons. I think everybody does. You know, I think that Ben Whittaker's not only going to win a world title, but I think he's going to be a superstar. And I think teaming up with Sugar Hill was like genius, because Sugar will add something to what he's already got. You know, I mean, he's very elusive. You know, he's a switch hitter. He throws shots from unusual angles. He can whack a little bit. He's light on his feet. But I was speaking to Sugar earlier on. He was saying, yeah, that's great. And all I'm trying to do is add to it. He says, so at the right times, I'm getting him to plant his feet and get off his shots more, so he can get, you know, more power in his shots as well. You know, he's not trying to change anything, he's just trying to add to it. So I just think it's a genius move, if I'm honest. He's the pick that I'm looking forward to, just because I'm looking forward to following his career. You know, I think that yeah, it's going to be a fun journey with him. Also, you know, Caroline Dubois, I love Big Fraser Clark as well. You know, he's always valued for money. They can fast track him a little bit more. He was, you know, he was out with a broken hand, but he's back now, which is great news. So yeah, there's plenty on the card to keep you interested, definitely.
Yeah, all that live on Sky Sports this Saturday. Spencer, just a couple more I wanted to ask you about. Joshua Usyk, the rematch is coming right round the corner. First of all, your reaction to it landing on Sky Box Office?
Well, listen, like, me and Josh go back a long way, so I'm so pleased that it landed on Sky for obvious reasons. Like, I'll be out there. Yeah, so I'm really pleased about it. Yeah, happy days. Happy days it's landed there. And listen, look, it's a big platform, isn't it? And I think, you know, from Joshua's point of view, he's done his deal with DAZN, whatever deal that was, but Saudis owed the broadcasting rights, and Sky won the broadcasting rights. So how bizarre is that the Saudis done a deal with Joshua but not showing the fight? I mean, sorry, DAZN done a deal with Joshua and they're not showing the fight. It's like mad. Or they haven't got the UK rights. So yeah, it is what it is, but I'm just pleased it's on Sky, if I'm honest.
See, you know Joshua well, and it's been an amazing journey, but obviously recently he's received criticism criticism off the back of the Usyk fight. What do you make of some of his comments this week to JD, where he said he doesn't feel he's had the respect throughout his career?
Yeah, it's been a frustrating time for AJ. You know, like, when you're at a certain level, though, you're always going to get criticism. He had a tough night against Oleksandr Usyk last time. Tactically, he got it totally wrong. But, you know, it's easy saying, oh, yeah, you know, AJ needs to find that rawness, the rawness that took him to, you know, win the title off Vladimir Klitschko. I go, but it's not as easy as that. You know, if it was as easy as that, AJ would go, right, I was going to roll the dice. But Usyk's a smart boxer, you know, and he'll recognise that AJ's got to be a little bit more. It's got to be educated pressure. You know, he went out there and he tried to outbox one of the best boxers in the world. Terrible mistake, you know. But he can't also be reckless and go in there like a wrecking ball and try and get the job done, because he could come stuck doing that. So look, he's got to get it right, and it's a tough job. I respect him for going straight back into the immediate rematch, you know, because he could have gone elsewhere. He could have gone for warm-up fights before he went back into that one. So take your hat off to him, and if he pulls it off, it's genius.
Have you spoken to him about the rematch in depth, or just briefly?
Listen, look, he knows what he knows what he's got to do. He knew what he done wrong, and he knows what he's got to do. Whether he can implement that is another thing, but he knows exactly what he's got to do. He recognises that boxing Usyk is not going to work. You know, he's got to go out there and he's got to grab the bull by the horns, and he's got to take it to him a little bit. But he's got to be smart in doing that, because Usyk's one of those smart guys, and he's heavy-handed himself.
What do you make of Tyson Fury saying 1 minute he wants 500 million, the next he'll fight him for free? Do you think he will come out of retirement and fight the winner?
Listen, Tyson Fury gets bored. 100% Tyson Fury will come out of retirement. I'm sure of that. He's a fighting man. You know, there's only so long he'll be sitting there. He's already getting itchy feet. He's already talking about fighting other people and exhibitions, etc. He's one of those guys that loves to be in the ring, and we want to see him in the ring. He's still got a lot to offer. You know, we saw that the last time out against Dillian White. I get it that he's done everything and he's cleaned up the era, but he needs to fight the winner of Oleksandr Usyk and Anthony Joshua, you know, to be the dominant force. Even though he is #1 heavyweight out there, there's still another fight there for him.
Last one, a lot of talk about Benn against Eubank. What do you think of that? When you first heard it, were you surprised?
Look, I was surprised, yeah, but I also like it. Like, I like the idea of it, you know, because I go back to the days of his dad, you know, when Nigel was fighting Chris, and that you will never, ever get a better rivalry than them two. So, could you imagine the build-up to that fight where the dad's involved in that as well? Look, it's all about what weight it's going to be. They're talking about 156. Well, I can't see Chris making 156. He's boxed as high as 168. He's been down to 160, and he looks tight at 160. There's not a lot of weight on him, and so for a normal guy, losing 4 pounds for a boxer at that weight is like losing 4 stones to the normal man. So that could be a dangerous move on Chris's behalf. You know, there's a lot of talk about Conor not being big enough, but if a big man is weakened, it doesn't matter anyway. So yeah, let's see what happens. I know there's still a few things, rehydration clauses, etc., but if it happens, or when it happens, yeah, I'd love to see it.
All right, Spencer, thanks for talking to Pro Boxing fans. Enjoy the rest of your time here in Bournemouth.
Cheers.